Welcome back to the Kovacs Report for another weekly comic book review show. My good buddy, Jimmy X.
Hey, Angelo.
Hello, mate. How's it going? So, this
Really good
week,
to see
it's
you,
been a
man.
hot week in the UK. It's good to see you too, my man. Good to see you. But has it been a hot week for comics, Jimmy, in your opinion?
Some really good books this week, yeah.
You got some really good books, right?
Thought
Probably
so.
less Marvel, DC, more indie, right?
Oh, yeah. Indie books, yeah.
Yeah. That seems to be the current trend, right? It really does. Okay, let's get straight into it. We're gonna take a look at the Detective Comics 2025 annual. Now, annuals are usually those sort of throwaway books, like you say, one and done books. Nothing
Yeah.
much happens. Kind of a way to sort of give you just a bit of extra, whatever character it is, and put some more money in DC's bank account. But I was hoping this was going to be Tom Taylor.
I mean, it
But
was originally, when it was solicited, it was meant to be Tom Taylor, and something happened, and now it's Al Ewing. I don't understand.
exactly,
But
exactly. No
yeah,
disrespect to Al Ewing,
given the
but
benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
But
I was hoping it was going to be another more tied into the current run book, but it
yeah,
isn't. It's a couple of one and done stories. So let's take a little looky. Okay. So the first story, because there's two stories here, there's a little short one at the end, is basically Batman gets this musical frequency that is transmitted to him, and he works out that it's Morse code. The Morse code leads him to the tech billionaire Cody Morse. Morse code, Cody Morse.
yeah. I see
You
what
can
they
work
did
it
there.
out, right? So it leads him to his sort of, I don't know, super bunker that's underneath, I guess, the company's building. Now, the company is called Briar Technologies, right? So it's Cody Morse. Now, Briar, he's Cody's partner, and that's going to come important for two reasons, right? One not so good and one obvious. So, anyway, the impenetrable security systems are penetrated by Batman, of course, because he's the Batman, and he finds that the billionaire, Mr. Morse, is lying face down, full of his own blood, dagger in his back, and a message scrawled in blood: "Batman, do not solve my murder." So,
I mean, not too heavy-handed at all. I mean,
not too heavy-handed at all, right? So he, by the way, the art's by Stefano Raffaele, and he's done a reasonably good job here. Look, it
there's
fits actually.
there's a load of different artists for each
There are
chapter,
the
isn't
John
there?
McCrea and
It gave me
Fico Ossio as
whiplash.
well. Yeah, I know. I know. Right. So what happened? So Batman does this investigation. He realizes that no one's left. No one could have got out. So the murderer must still be in the building. There's no evidence to suggest that he. Yeah. So he does a little a bit of detective work. It leads him to the kitchen where he finds lots of knives there. Obviously, one of the knives is missing, and that's the knife in his back. And he gets to the sort of what do you call it? The game room, the recreation, where he discovers a note on the super tech system, right? It says man cave on to activate. So he says man cave on, the game's console comes on, the game controller levitates towards him. So we're implying here that this cave is super powered by tech, right? And it's all voice activated. So he thinks, okay, let's go back to the other rooms. He goes to the library, and there are actually no books there. It's just video screen. So he says, library on, of course, you can read a book. So he says, right, starting to figure some stuff out. So he goes back to the kitchen and says, kitchen on. And we discover that knives, they fly towards him. And he does his Batman stuff and he catches all the knives and he realizes that they've obviously been programmed to kill. And that's probably how our billionaire ended up dead, right? So, he got killed by one of these knives. While he's there, he discovers these books, right? And there's 5 books. And he notices that they're called How to End the Universe. They're disguised as cookbooks, but they're not. And there's pages ripped out of each of the copies. And it's all about quantum mechanics, right? So this whole thing is about tech. Now I'm going to try and do the next bits really quick because, to be honest with you, it wasn't a terrible story.
It was a long story.
It was yeah, a long story. So
I would
it
say
leads him to
overly long.
England. It leads him to England. Okay, he talks to a scientist. She discusses the quantum science because that professor who wrote the book used to be there, which then leads on to the publishing company, and he finds out that there is one extra copy. There's another copy of this book, right? Because there was only 5 in existence, but there's obviously the printer's proofing copy, which you usually get when you make a book. You get a copy, right? So long story short, he's going to track that down. Along the way, he gets called to something kicking off in the city, right? So the whole city is going bananas, and there's these weird ghosties which he fights, which are sort of like tech looking, and he finds out that they sort of If they touch you, they make you relive some of the worst memories of your life. Again, it's standard fare. And he does his detective thing, and he gets to this little sort of Z-list villain, and he says, "Oh, I've got the powers of John D, and within the city limits, I control everything. You're doomed." So he goes, "Oh, chase me!" So he chases Batman, and he goes, I'm out of breath chasing you." And Batman goes, "Yeah, but guess what? The city bounds changed years ago. You don't know your history. You're actually outside the city now." So he knocks him out. And the whole thing is formulaic. It's like, I need to do A. I've done A. It's really easy. Right, I need to do B now. So I do B, and it's really easy. So now I need to do C. And that's what this whole story is like. So he gets the book. He finds the fact that these pages are in there, and he learns the pages, and it leads him to the next part of this very formulaic adventure. Now, before I even get here, the greatest detective in the world, right, and any standard police officer investigating a murder of a businessman, what are the first suspects you would think of to interview, Jim?
The partner in a tech firm.
The business partner. Why hasn't he done that yet? Right? Or a spouse, right? They're the first two things you check, but he doesn't. But he's the world's greatest detective, right? So anyway, he gets called to this building, and it's heavily guarded by goons of the real villain. And he goes in there, and he's got the book, and he holds the book to ransom. And long story short, he beats all the goons up. And guess who he finds?
The partner of the tech firm.
The business partner, and he's got the professor from earlier tied up to a bomb. It's so old storytelling. It's like a 1970s story. And then it goes through I want to destroy the world. And those missing pages hold this mathematical equation where I can just, take over the world. I can destroy everything. And that's why the original billionaire with the knife to back said, "Don't solve my murder," because he knew that Batman would find the book, find the missing page, and those missing pages might fall into the hands of his business partner, the villain, and the world would end. Anyway, with some Batman trickery, he gives him part of the code, one of the pages, but what it does, it creates a smaller version of this world-destroying concept that we've created, right? And it encases him in it. He's trapped there forever, like frozen in time. And I was like, okay, that's the whole story. And then he goes back to his Batcave, and he's got the other pages, and it does this whole thing of like, now Batman has this information. Should Batman have this information? What would he do with it? If he went bad, what might happen? And that's the end of the story. And I thought, okay, it was very formulaic. It passed time, wasn't exciting. So, I mean, am I wrong?
No, I mean, it's just your classic lock room murder story that you can see on any procedural detective show. And Batman in New York was something I never thought I'd see. So tick that box. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But and leaving it as a cliffhanger ending is pointless because this is a one and done. So
maybe next year, the next annual, they'll continue it. But it was just like, why?
In my head. Also, I fell asleep reading this, so don't know what more to say.
Oh my god. Yeah, again, I mean, we're all as honest here. The art was nice enough. Like I say, it wasn't a bad story. It was just like a nothing burger, really. I think what the kids call it, right? The second story is much to shame. I said much the shame there instead of much the same, but I like that Freudian slip because, again, this whole story, this little short story, is basically about how terrible schools aren't funded in America. Basically, that's the underpinning story here.
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I like Joshua Hale Fialkov. Elks Run was a really, really cool limited series. I remember
that's a long time ago. That one.
It was really, really good stuff, and I think he's doing a sequel. I think that's coming soon.
All right, might be looking out for that.
Sorry, if you want to carry on talking about
No. I mean, if you've got thoughts, Jim, that's what we're here for. But to me, basically, whoops, we've got a new concept, guys. Working out.
We do have a new concept.
I
thought the idea that the school was built on one of Scarecrow's old hideouts, and all his classmates were hallucinating, and he worked it out because he's a huge Batman fan. And then Batman appears to him, and the cynic in me really wanted him to be a hallucination at the end, but no, it teams up with Batman, and they solve the mystery, and he gives him a lift home. So
I
really wanted to be a hallucination, but it wasn't. But there we go. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
we're thinking alike there, Jim. We're thinking alike. Yeah. So long story short is like you said. He's like this kid's the president of like the Batman Appreciation Society. I'm going to assume he's the only one in the Batman Appreciation Society because he's your typical kid that doesn't have friends, right? So he does a bit of investigating, like you say. Batman turns up, and Batman sort of uncharacteristically like sort of takes pity on him. Maybe he sees Robin in him. I don't know. So they investigate it together, and this kid's like a genius and everything else. And he finds out all sorts of bits and bobs that are just like, okay, boring, basically, and gives him a lift home. And that is it. It was just, there was particles of the fear toxin in there. And the thing is, this is what I would have liked the most as well, is at the end of it, he's just hallucinating and the Scarecrow's actually walking out of the school and is murdering children. That would have been a great story, but it wasn't another little sort of,
it was fluff, wasn't it? It was fluff.
Well, basically, with an annual, they want more pages, right, to justify the price, so they stuck to it. But again, it wasn't terrible. The art was actually quite nice. None of it's terrible. It's just not super exciting. And there he is getting a lift home, which will never happen.
I would really like to know what Tom Taylor had planned for that annual.
Oh, me too.
I guess we'll never know.
I'm loving his run. I mean, I did a solo review of the final part of that arc. Did you read the book?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah. I kind of expected a bit more of a reveal, but all in all, I think it's one of the strongest Batman stories I've had in years.